Welcome back to the My English Matters podcast. I'm Amnah, one of the creators of My English Matters, where we help Malaysians and second language learners improve their English through our online courses, our classes, and our workshops. Okay, so today is the 29th of October. It's 8:30 p.m. If you are watching me right now live, say hello in the chat. I love seeing your comments. And if you can't do that, then you can share this video with your friends and family, and also make sure you like this video. Okay, so it's actually the fifth Wednesday of October 2025, and every week for this month I've been going live at 8:30, and I have been sharing topics about based on what our email subscribers have voted. So today's the fifth week, so this is the fifth highest voted for topic that was voted by our email subscribers. Hello, Zaya. Thanks for saying hello to me. Okay, so hello, Shasha. Thank you. All right, let me share my slide for you. So today's topic is called How to Expand Your Vocabulary Without Memorizing Long Lists. So again, this was a popular topic among you guys. And if you voted for this topic, let me know. If you're not on our email list, make sure you subscribe at myenglishmatters.com to become an email subscriber. Hello, Mohammed from Somaliland. We have people from all over the world today. Okay. All right, let's start. Oh, but before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that we have officially opened registration for our online course and coaching program called Communicate with Confidence. Communicate with Confidence, I call it CWC. We call it CWC. It's designed to help you look, feel, and sound confident in English at work, in social settings, and in everyday conversations. So we only open registration twice a year. So this is our second and our last intake for 2025. So if you have been waiting to join Communicate with Confidence, this is the chance for you to join. We open registration only for a few days, not a few weeks, 2 weeks. I think by next week we are closing registration. So we're only looking for a small group of people, not too big, because we want to work closely with you so that you can learn to speak and communicate with confidence. It's a coaching program. There's going to be it's an online course, meaning that we send you videos to watch. So the videos are short. Each video is about 5 to 15 minutes, and there are 5 modules in this video, 5 modules in the course, and you can learn at your own pace because it's lifetime access. So this course is suitable for people who are busy, right? They don't have time to attend classes, but we also have coaching calls for people who want that extra support from us. So you'll have coaching calls with us over 7 weeks. There'll be 5 coaching calls over 7 weeks to support you in each module. Okay, and we also have a Telegram group, inshallah, to support you every single day. So if you have been waiting to get coaching from us in a small group setting, and also to learn how to communicate with confidence using our tips and our techniques and strategies that have worked for us and have worked for other students who have gone through the course, this is the time for you to join, because we only open registration twice a year. Okay, so go to myenglishmatters.com/CWC. Learn all about it, because registration is closing soon by next Thursday. Okay, and then also we have a second session of the free masterclass. So this free masterclass is called Speak English with Confidence, 3 simple techniques to sound fluent and clear. It's going to be led by Madam Azima. I will be there, and Aisha will be there as well in the chat. This was our last session for this period, because in this free masterclass, we'll also talk about Communicate with Confidence. So if you are not sure if Communicate with Confidence is the right program for you, you can join this free training and get to know us, and also get to know how we teach and see if you like the way we teach, see if it's effective for you, so that you can make the decision to join Communicate with Confidence. Even if you don't join Communicate with Confidence, you will learn a lot from this free masterclass. So this is the encore session, meaning it's the second session. The first one that we did was last Saturday at 10 a.m. And this one will be on Sunday, live this Sunday, 2nd of November at 10 a.m. So if you are not sure if CWC is right for you, join us in this free class. It's called at myenglishmatters.com/masterclass. It's called Speak English with Confidence, 3 simple techniques to sound fluent and clear. Even if you can't join live, sign up, because after the class, we'll send you a limited time replay. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping there. Now let's go back to the topic. We are going to be talking about how to expand your vocabulary without memorizing long lists. Right. So, do you struggle with remembering words when you speak? Or do you feel that you don't have enough vocabulary to express yourself? If that's you, the main reason that you struggle to remember words or you struggle to expand and grow your vocabulary is this. Most of the words you know are passive. You understand them, but you rarely use them. So what I mean by that is the words that you know may already be enough for you to express yourself at your level of English, right? So maybe you understand what I'm saying. Maybe you understand 100%. Maybe you only understand about 80 or maybe 60, right? 60, 70, 80. So you understand the words that I'm saying, but when it comes to speaking, you are unable to recall those words. You're unable to use the same kinds of words and phrases that I use, even though you understand those words. So what that means is that you have a knowledge of words, but it's passive. It's not active. You're not using those words. Okay? Do you understand what I'm talking about? So you understand a lot of words, but you are unable to use them in your everyday life, in your everyday conversations, and in meetings and discussions at work. Okay, so what shall we do about it? What should you do to overcome this? Number one, this is my first tip. Focus on improving and expanding your active vocabulary. So like I said, whatever level of English you are at right now, it's probably enough for you. Your vocabulary, the words that you know and understand, are probably enough for you to explain yourself, to express yourself as well. So what you need to do is all the words that you understand, right? And all the words that you've learned throughout your years of learning English, you have to activate those words and phrases, because right now they're passive. You understand them, but you don't know how to use them in real life. So let's focus on using those words that you know, that you already know, before even learning new words. Okay? So I would say that for beginners and intermediate people, focus on using the words that you already understand so that you can activate those words instead of keeping them passive. Okay, I saw someone say, yes, coach. Thank you for that. All right, so what do? Speak in English every day. Right? I'm sure that this sounds, I sound like a broken record because I say this every week, but this is very important. We do need to be speaking in English every day. You may not need to speak English every single minute of the day, but have times of the day where you speak English. So it could be like, maybe it's 9 to 6 p.m. That's when you're at the office. Or maybe it's only during lunchtime when you're speaking to your fellow colleagues, right? For example. So do your best to stay consistent in speaking in English every day. Because if you're not speaking in English every day, you're not practicing and using the words that you know. And also, when you speak in English every day and as much as you can, that is when you know where you struggle. Okay, so for example, you were trying to explain something, but you're trying to use one word. You know that word, but you can't remember it. You're like in your head, you're like, oh, I know that word. I can't think of it right now. Okay, so what do you do? For me, I would use a word that is similar to it, a similar meaning, right? But after that, what you can do next is when you're home or when you're back at your desk, remember what you struggled with and then look for the word that you were looking for so that you learn from that situation where you struggle to find the word, right? Don't let that situation just let it put it behind you. Do your best to learn from every situation. So every time you struggle to speak or every time you struggle to remember a word, go back home or go back to your office and quickly look up the word that you were looking for so that the next time you have to use that word, you'll remember it. Okay, so for example, for me, not too long ago, I wanted to use the word facilitate. Okay, facilitate basically means to help or to support, right? And I was speaking online. I think it was a live Facebook live session, and I wanted to use the word facilitate, but the word didn't come to me. I was live, so my mind went blank. So what I quickly did was I just said a word that has the similar meaning. So I said help, right? To help you instead of to facilitate you. But I felt like, oh, I really wanted to use the word facilitate because that word creates a bigger impact in that particular context, created a bigger impact than the word help, which is a more simpler word. So what I did was I went back and then I looked up the synonym for help, and then the word facilitate came up, and I was like, oh, that was the word that I was looking for. And now the next time that I want to use the word facilitate, I'm going to remember it because I went through that pain. I went through that struggle of trying to recall a word. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. When you are speaking English every day, that is when you are able to find out where your gaps are, right? Where do you go blank? What kind of words do you often forget? And then use that to guide you in figuring out how you can fill in those gaps and those blanks that you always forget, right? So we need to be stacking up situations where we are constantly learning, and we may need to be learning while we are speaking English at the workplace. Okay? So we're not only learning in a classroom, but we're learning in real life. Okay, so that is tip number 2. Speak in English every day. It's not enough just to think, just to read, just to learn. You have to be speaking. Okay, right. So the next tip is to listen to or watch English speaking podcasts and videos. Okay, so this one's tip number 2 is to help you activate your passive vocabulary. But tip number 3 now is for you to listen to content that is in English. If you're not already doing that, I want you to try to do that. If you are at the beginner level, maybe you can just watch shorter videos or listen to short podcasts that are in English, right? Maybe you need to listen or watch videos and then you put the speed at a lower speed. Okay, for me, I like to listen at that 1.5 speed. But for you, if it's too fast for you, you can slow it down. You can go to 0.75, and I don't know what's slower than that. But so listen, not just to learn, right? So I would say listen to podcasts that are related to your field of work or your field of study. But if you don't want to, then just listen to something that's interesting for you, something that you want to learn, or something, or maybe it's related to a hobby, right? So that you're actually learning at the same time, learning on that particular topic. But I also want you to be intentional. So you're not just learning about that topic. So for example, can you see this picture? This picture is a picture of a finance podcast. So for example, if I listen to a finance podcast, I'm not just learning about finance, but I want to be intentional in, I also want to learn interesting words or interesting phrases related to finance so that I can use them in the future. Okay, so don't just listen to learn the topic, listen to learn new words and phrases. Okay, I personally love to listen to podcasts that are conversational, like interviews and stuff like that, because I'm not exactly learning new words, right? I can understand all that they say, but some of the words that they use are words that I don't normally use. So, for example, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and then the interviewee, the person who is being interviewed, every time that they wanted to agree to the interviewer, they would say words like absolutely, or they would use words like 100%. That was interesting to me because I usually don't use phrases like absolutely or 100%, right? It's interesting to me. So I thought maybe I should, vary the words and phrases that I use to agree to people. So again, I'm not learning new words and phrases. I'm learning interesting words and phrases that I already understand, but I want to use them in my own conversations. Okay? I hope that's clear for you guys. Okay, let's move on to the next tip. Tip number 4 is to watch videos with English captions. So what do I mean by that? If you are watching an English video, so most of the time, if you watch like a TikTok video or an Instagram reel, most of these videos have captions because they're short videos. But if you're watching a longer video, say on YouTube, you might not have the captions there. So go out of your way to turn on the captions, turn on the English captions, right? I wouldn't advise you to turn on the Malay Bahasa Melayu captions or whatever language that you speak, because I know we have non-Malaysians here. Turn on the English captions, right? For example, this will help you to learn new words and also at the same time learn how words are pronounced and how words are spelled. Because sometimes we hear a word, but we don't pick it up because we don't know how it's spelled. We didn't see it in a sentence. So being able to see the word and also listen to it at the same time can help you to remember the word better. Okay. So for example, if you are watching a Korean drama, right? I don't really watch Korean dramas, but I know a lot of people do like Korean dramas. We watch a Korean drama with the captions in Malay or in English. So we're not actually learning the language. So that's why if you are listening to English, we already have a grasp of English. We already know English because we've been learning it for most of our lives. It's good to have the captions on so that you can learn from the words. And I learnt English a lot from reading captions. Because back in the 90s, when I was in England, when we were in England, we would watch like TV shows and then we would turn on the captions. They had that back then. The captions were for the people who were hearing impaired, but we turn it on because we wanted to learn English. And I think I improved my English a lot from learning words from those captions. So I hope that helps. Okay. Tip number 5 is to take note of words and phrases from books, articles, or videos. So from those videos, from the articles, or from the podcasts that I've asked you to watch, take note of those interesting words and phrases that you want to use, right? You can keep a journal. So I don't keep a journal for vocabulary, but at the beginner level, maybe you do need to keep a notebook or maybe like a small book of words that you want to use, interesting words. When I was in primary school, our teacher, she told us to keep a small book of vocabulary. I remember that. So I would write down words that were interesting or new words for me that I didn't understand. And then I would remember to use them. So take notes of words and phrases that you want to use. Again, they don't have to be new words. They could be like ordinary words that you understand, you've understood all this time, but you just never use them. So like for me, I understand the word absolutely. I understand the word 100%, but I could write that down in my notebook and remind myself to use it the next time a situation comes up where I want to agree with someone. Okay, so take note of words and phrases from books, articles, or videos. Okay, number 6, study word families. So word families are groups of related words that come from the same root word. So for example, maybe you want to use the word support, right? And what you could do is write down the word support in your book and what other words come from this root word support, such as supportive. Okay, support is a verb or a noun, right? Supportive, which is an adjective that comes from the root word support. Or you could, and then you could also write supportive of. Supportive of means that someone is showing support. Okay, or supporter, which is a noun. Supporter is someone who supports. So you're actually expanding your vocabulary based on one root word, and then from that root word, there are several other words that you can learn which have similar but different meanings. Okay, I hope that helps. Study word families. Okay, number 7. Wait, let me just check my microphone. Okay. Number 7 is to use AI to help you come up with examples of sentences using those words and phrases. So one of the problems that I notice our students have is they learn a new word or they learn a new phrase and they think they understand it, right? But they use it incorrectly in their speaking or in their writing. And so what I want you to do is, instead of just memorizing that word or sentence, you can use AI like ChatGPT or whatever AI that you prefer to use. I use ChatGPT. And then you can ask it to come up with examples of sentences using those words and phrases. And you can write in the prompt, right? You can say, please come up with 10 example sentences. I would suggest 10. Okay, maybe 3. But sometimes, if you're at the beginner level, maybe you need 10 sentences. The more there it is, the better. At least you can see how the word or the phrase is used in different sentences. See? Okay, and not only that, add into your prompt, these sentences must be related to my field of work or my field of study, and suitable for a beginner or an intermediate. Okay, so if you're a beginner, then you can ask AI to create sentences that are suitable for beginners, because AI will just come up with random sentences, and they might come up with sentences that may be difficult for you to say, right? So if you're at the beginner level, ask them to produce sentences that are suitable for you as a beginner to say. If you're at the intermediate or advanced, then same thing. And yeah, so I want you to be learning words and phrases that are relevant to you. Okay, I don't want you to try using words and phrases that are too difficult for your level of English. Inshallah, you will get to that next level of English that you want to be at. But at this moment, use words and phrases that are suitable for your level of English. And we always encourage our students to challenge themselves, but sometimes it might be too much for you to be pushing yourself to use advanced words and phrases or advanced sentences. So do your best to sound natural, so that when you read those sentences, you're able to understand them better, because they're at the level of English that you are at right now. Okay, I hope that's clear. Next, sorry about that. Okay, next, number 8. Practice using the new words and phrases in full sentences. So we just asked AI to come up with 10 sentences using the words and phrases, the new words and phrases that you want to use, right? Practice using them. Practice saying them out loud. Remember, I want you guys to sound natural. That's why I asked you to, when you're using ChatGPT, ask them to come up with sentences that are suitable for your level of English, so that when you say them out loud, it doesn't sound unnatural to you. So I want you to sound natural. And also, if it's too advanced, then you might panic, right, when it comes to actually using them. So practice using them. Say them out loud. You can use them in writing, right? It's important for you to practice. And not just practicing the word or the phrase by itself. Practice them in full sentences with the correct grammar. Okay? Now, if you're not sure if you are using the correct grammar, you can ask AI to check that you use the words or phrases correctly. So what you can do is you can, I'm not sure if ChatGPT can do this. I've never done this before, but you can record yourself. Actually, they can, right, Asha? Double check. You can write in the chat. You can read. I don't use the voice thing of ChatGPT. I just use the words. So you can write sentences in ChatGPT, right, example sentences, and then ask ChatGPT to correct your grammar. So you can say, here's an example of a sentence of this using this word in sentence. Please correct my grammar or please edit it. And also ask ChatGPT to summarize the changes it makes so that you know where your mistakes are so that you don't repeat the same mistakes. Okay. That's how you can use AI to help you learn by correcting your grammar and summarizing the changes that it makes. Okay. Right. And also you can ask, am I using this phrase or am I using this word correctly based on what you've learned? Okay. Right now we are at tip number 10. Challenge yourself to use the new word within the same day or the same week. So you've learned the new word, you've learned the new phrase, you have practiced saying them out loud, you have read 10 sentences that use that new word or phrase. Now challenge yourself to use it at work. Use it in real life. Because if you're not using it, it's just going to stay passive in your brain. So use it in real life. Try to use it within the same day. The faster that you use it, the better, so that the memory, so that the knowledge sticks, right? And then you can see how other people react to it. And also you might find yourself feeling a bit more confident because you know that you're using this word correctly, even though it's the first time you ever use it in real life. Okay. What we do at in My English Masters Academy, which is our program for our students, we share vocabulary, new phrases or new words in a Telegram group, and then we challenge our students to use that word within that week, and they select a phrase that they want to use. So that's some accountability if you learn with us. Okay, and then my last tip number 11, this is an extra challenge for those of you who are at the intermediate or at the advanced level, is to practice paraphrasing by explaining an idea using different words. So paraphrasing is basically explaining something, but you're using it in different words. So for example, if you are in a presentation, right, you've presented something or you've presented an idea and somebody asks you to repeat or to explain it better. How can you explain the same idea or explain the same concept but use different words? This is an extra challenge, so that if you are able to explain yourself or explain something in different words, then I would consider you at the upper intermediate the advanced level. So this is something that's a bit more advanced, right? Because it shows that you have an extensive vocabulary. You know different words to explain the same concept. Okay, so what you can do is to practice doing this. When you watch a video or something that's interesting, or you hear a story, somebody shares a story with you, try to retell that story to someone else, right? Retell the story to your children or to your husband, right? Or maybe what you could do is explain something once and then explain it again, but in different words. Practice doing that. And then you'll see, oh, I struggle here. So I need to work on this. I need to find another word for this, or I need to find a different way of explaining something. And then you can go back and then practice and then do the research necessary to find the relevant words and phrases suitable for what you're trying to explain. Okay? All right. So those are my 11 tips. So let's just quickly summarize how to expand your vocabulary. Focus on improving your active vocabulary. So again, I do believe that you probably understand a lot of words already, but those words are passive. You're not using them. And so that's why sometimes you feel stuck or your mind goes blank because you understand a lot of words, but you're not comfortable using them. Number two, speak in English every day. Number three, listen to or watch English speaking podcasts and videos. Number four, watch videos with English captions. Number five, take note of words and phrases that you'd like to use. So they may not necessarily be new words and phrases, but they could be words and phrases that you already know, but you find them interesting and you want to use them. Number six, study word families. Number seven, use AI to help you come up with examples of sentences. Number eight, practice using the new words and phrases in full sentences. Don't just practice saying that particular word and phrase, but practice using them in full sentences. And then use AI to check that you've used the word or phrase correctly. Challenge yourself to use the new word within the same day or week with others, not just to yourself, right? Practice at work or with your family. And then number 11, practice paraphrasing if you're more advanced. Okay, so those are my 11 tips. Do you have any questions? Aisha, if there are any questions, can you pull them up in the chat because I currently can't see them. Let me see. Okay. All right. Anything? Yogendra says, yes, but for me, advanced words are big problems. So you don't need, like I said, you don't need to learn advanced words yet. If they're too difficult for you, just practice the words that you already understand. Okay. So if you are able to understand 90% of what I'm saying, that's already enough for you at your level of English. Because I'm not using big words either. I'm just using simpler words. Okay. So challenge yourself to be able to use the words that you already know and understand and use them often so that you sound natural, and then the next time you have to speak, it becomes easier. Okay. Okay, so any other questions? How long can I speak English fluently? It depends on your level of English. All right. So at the beginner level, I've gone through the CEFR levels in my previous sessions, so I'm not going to go through it today. But basically, there are 6 levels of English at using the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which is called the CEFR. So there are 6 levels there. We have A1, A2. So A1 is beginner, A2 elementary. B1 is intermediate, B2 is upper intermediate. C1 is advanced, C2 is proficient. I hope I got that right. But we want you to be at the B2 level. The B2 level is the upper intermediate level. If you are working in an environment where you have to speak English most of the time, or you have to speak English with your bosses, maybe you don't need to speak English with your colleagues, but when it comes to presentations, when it comes to speaking with upper management, then you have to use English, then we want you to be at that B2 level. So between one level to the next, so for example, if you are A1 and you want to get to A2, so you're a beginner, you want to get to elementary, you need around 200 hours of learning, structured learning, not just random learning, but structured learning, around 200 hours. So if, for example, if you are learning only just 1 hour a day, for example, okay, and you're just learning 1 hour a day, it might take you about a year to get from A1 to A2. So same goes for A2 to B1. If you're just learning 1 hour a day, about 1 year, 200 hours, okay? Not including weekends. So do your best to be using English as much as you can. But maybe you can join a class, you can join us at My English Matters, or you can just create your own curriculum. So what I mean by learning, structured learning, is that you are exposing yourself to English and you're in the mindset of I'm learning English, I'm learning new phrases. You can learn by yourself. It is possible. But sometimes, you're not sure where to start. You have no one to give feedback. and then you have no one to speak to. So that's why it's good to be in an environment where people are learning together. Because I do believe that when you learn in a community or with a coach or with a teacher, you learn faster that way. Okay. And then so if you are beginner A1, you want to get to B2. Remember, the B2 is the target that we want you to be at. So it's going to take you A1 to A2, 200 hours. A2 to B1, another 200 hours. And then B1 to B2, another 200 hours. So how many is that? 2 times 4, right? I can't do my maths when I'm live. About 800 hours. Okay. But if you can learn 5 hours a day, then you're going to get there faster. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, Aisha? Thank you. I'm usually shy to practice. Suhana Nasir. Being shy is normal. Okay, so many of our students are actually introverts. I would say about 70% of our students are introverts. So you're not alone if you join us. What I would do if I was shy, right? I consider myself shy as well. I've been shy ever since I was a kid, and I've only grown more confident as I have stepped out of my comfort zone, doing things that are a bit more challenging. But it's gonna take steps for you to become confident. So just take a small step, right? So right now we're in this bubble of our comfort zone, right? What is the next smaller step that you can take to step out of that comfort zone so that you can be a bit more confident? So not so shy, still shy, but not as shy as yesterday, because today you did something that was a bit challenging. So you gain that confidence as you take small steps outside of your comfort zone. Okay. You can just start off by speaking to your family members at first. So if you have children, you can speak to your children first, right? If you have a husband, you can speak to your husband or your closest friend, or maybe even to your cat, right? So start off in low stress situations. You don't have to volunteer for public speaking tomorrow, right? What you can do is look for situations where it's not stressful for you and practice there. And then, inshallah, the confidence and the momentum will build up as you find yourself making progress. Okay, if you speak every day, you feel a bit more confident. Then tomorrow, you might want to do something a bit more challenging. So always be doing things that are a little bit outside of your comfort zone. Okay, thanks, Sohana, for your question. Oh, and then if you're also talking about our students, we have speaking practice sessions in our programs, but some students are busy, so they're unable to attend those speaking practice sessions. So what they do is they learn from the content that we provide, or they watch the replays of any of our classes, and then they apply the techniques that they learn immediately at work, right? So even if they're shy, they apply it at work so that they see progress. Okay. All right. Aisha, anything else? I understand almost 90%, but I am confused about spelling. Okay. That's great that you can understand 90%. That's great. If you are confused about spelling, use the tip that I shared earlier about captions. Turn on the captions. I know that I'm live right now, so the captions are probably not present right now, but if you watch the replay, the captions will be there, the subtitles. Probably not going to be perfect because this is live. I have a lot of filler words and all that, but it'll be close. It'll be almost correct. I watched a video that I did that was live, and I thought the captions were not bad. They've improved a lot compared to how they were a few years ago. We've been doing Facebook live sessions since 2020, and back then the captions were really bad. But I recently watched one, and then the captions were okay. So about spelling, yeah, read captions when you watch videos. Take note of those words, and then, like I said, use ChatGPT to help you create sentences. And then you can also write down in your notebook so that you remember how to spell it. Right. if you write with your, if you use your, uh, if you use handwriting, right? Well, that's what I'm trying to say. If you write with your hand, you'll remember the word better because it's a bit slower. Yeah, there's some research about that, but I can't remember it right now, about handwriting and how it helps you to retain things or to remember things better. Okay. Anything else, Sasha? Okay, this is from G. Hain. Okay, sorry, I can't see your name. I have a lot of vocabulary, but my problem, it's default for me to recall them when I want to use them. Oh, it's difficult. I think that's what you're trying to say. It's difficult for you to recall when you want to use them. All right. Use the tips that I shared just now, right? Like I said, remember the other day I said about the story of the other day my problem of trying to recall the word facilitate, right? I know that word, but when it came to the time where I had wanted to use it, I wanted to sound smart by using the word facilitate, right? I didn't want to use help because help is a very basic word, but I couldn't find the word. So if you can't recall the word, just use another alternative, the simpler meaning. It's okay. And then go back. And then from that situation, go online and try to find the word that you were looking for. And then the next time you will remember it because you went through that pain of struggling to find the word, but you didn't just struggle, you learnt from that struggle. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I do it. Like if I struggle with something, I go back, I research it, do some work, and then I'll remember it the next time. Or if I make a mistake, right? Sometimes I like to use analogies. Like analogies, what are analogies? Analogies are like, actually, can you find out the correct meaning of analogies? I want to use a metaphor or an idiom, right? And then I write it in a WhatsApp message to my sisters. And then I'm thinking, am I using the correct metaphor or am I writing it the right way? And I go back, quickly Google it. Is this the right way? And then I realize, oh, I made a mistake with that metaphor. I made a mistake with that idiom. So the next time, when I want to use that metaphor or idiom again, I'll remember to use it correctly. Okay. So sometimes we have to be making mistakes, but we need to also learn from those mistakes. Because from learning from them, that's when we grow, that's when we make progress. So don't just make the mistake, learn from the mistake by doing the extra work of researching or just looking up something online from the internet. So Aisha says, an analogy is a comparison between two different things to explain a concept by highlighting their similarity. Okay, thanks, Aisha. All right. Any other questions? When this is from is it Nick Hyrie? When I write my speech script, I try to use new words. I feel uncomfortable and sound cliche. That's interesting. If you feel uncomfortable using new words, or you think that you sound cliche, then you can exclude it. Don't include it in your speech. Only use words that you feel comfortable using. Sometimes you feel uncomfortable because it's just not you, right? It's not something that you would say every day. So what you can do is practice saying it so that it becomes natural. But even if you still practice and you still feel uncomfortable, then don't use it. So for me, if I write a script for a video or for a podcast or something, I usually I ask ChatGPT to help me draft it based on my ideas. So I give them the ideas and I ask ChatGPT, can you draft something for me? And then what I do is I would edit it. I would read it out loud before I record, and I would change so many words that do not come natural to me. For example, ChatGPT likes to use the word super, like super effective, something like that. And that's not something that I naturally use. So I just change it according to what feels natural to me. Okay, if it sounds cliche, yeah, and especially ChatGPT tends to use cliched words. So you have to be careful with that. And another thing that I want to share about ChatGPT is that I'm getting a bit tired of ChatGPT. So I'm trying not to use ChatGPT so much as I did before. I'm writing my own emails now. I might use ChatGPT just to edit it, but most of the time I'm using my own words. Okay. So that it comes from the heart, it doesn't come from a robot. Okay. Thanks for the question. Oh, thanks for sharing that, Hari. Najmuddin. I speak English every day because I'm working in an MNC, but sometimes some words are stuck in my head and I can't verbalize it. Any tips? So, like I said just now, I hope you have been watching from the beginning. When you get stuck, just fall back to another word, an alternative word that has the same meaning. It's okay if you can't use the exact word that you're looking for, right? I'm sure that you want to use a really impactful word, but sometimes there are going to be situations where we're just too nervous, or we're not able to recall something. It happens to me too. So just fall back, just use another word that has the same meaning. You can, if you still can't find another word that has the same meaning, you can explain it. If you're speaking to people that are from different countries, right, international people, you can explain it or use a simpler word, because you can't use your Malay word, right? And then just apply the other tips that I've mentioned today about learning from each mistake and each struggle, so that the next time you go through that situation, you can overcome it better because you remember the word already. Okay, I hope that helps. Anything else, Aisha? Shasha asks, do you have face-to-face class in Shah Alam area? No, right now we don't have face-to-face class. We only have online classes. I'm actually living in Shah Alam, but we don't have face-to-face class. We do have like a workshop, but that's only like once a year. The last one that we did was, I think it was in May. So we invited students to learn with us in a face-to-face workshop. It was done in Taman Tun, Kuala Lumpur. But usually our workshops are only like 2 days, and most of the learning is done online. Okay. Any other questions, Aisha? Mohammed Faisal, how much is the study fee? So for Communicate with Confidence, you can go to myenglishmasters.com/CWC to learn more, and then also see what we have in the course. But the price is 409 per month for 12 months as an installment, because you have lifetime access to it. You have coaching calls, you have monthly speaking practice, and then you have the course content, which is 5 modules with worksheets, and then support for each module so that you can practice with us. And then we have a lot of masterclasses, like bonus training, like present in English, how to present in English. We have training like Speak to Persuade, Grammar Bootcamp. So Communicate with Confidence is a comprehensive course that you can learn in your own time, but also have support from us for the Zoom coaching calls, and also a Telegram group for you to learn with us. All right. Any other questions? We're at 9:20 now. No more, Shah? Okay. If there's no more, thank you for joining me live tonight. It was fun. So before I go, myenglishmatches.com/CWC. We are open. I'm answering Asma. We're open for registration right now until the 6th of November, which is next week, next Thursday. So next Thursday is the last day of registration for you. Go to myenglishmatches.com/CWC. You can enroll now. So if you enroll now, you'll get immediate access to some bonuses like our introduction video, and then a little bit about us. So you can start learning straight away once you join. But module 1 will be released on 7th of November after the cart closes. But in the meantime, you can enjoy any of the trainings in there. The reason why we release modules week by week is because we want you to go through the course together with us and the other students. So you go through it week by week, and each module is quite a lot. Even though the videos are short, they're very impactful. There are a lot of worksheets for you to reflect on and for you to practice. We share a lot of phrases to help you speak confidently and speak with fluency. Najmuddin says, I have one more question. Okay, I'll wait for you to ask your question. And then, and also our free masterclass on Sunday. It's the last one. This Sunday, 2nd of November at 10 a.m. So join us live. This is where you can ask more questions about Communicate with Confidence in the chat. We'll be there. But even if you're not interested in joining Communicate with Confidence, you can still join because there's a lot to learn there. There's 3 simple techniques to sound fluent and clear. So these are the techniques that we learn, we actually apply, and we teach our students as well. So you have a taster of how it is, what is it like to learn with us. Also, it's going to be on Zoom. Last week we did it on YouTube. Did I mention this earlier? Last week we did it on YouTube, but on Sunday it's going to be on Zoom. But don't worry, I know we got an email from someone saying that they were too shy to join. Don't worry, you don't have to turn on your camera or you don't have to unmute yourself. It's just going to be a training for you to learn, but you can chat with us. You can chat with other participants of the training. You don't need to speak. You only get to speak to us when you join Communicate with Confidence or you join any of our other programs. But for the free training and all that, it's just you learning with us. Najmuddin says, how do we influence audience? Wait, let me put your... How do we influence an audience? Do you teach that as well? Yes. One of the bonus training in Communicate with Confidence is actually Present in English with Confidence. Present in English with Confidence is more of an advanced training. And we also teach Speak to Persuade. So if you do need to influence and persuade people, we do teach that. So we have Communicate with Confidence. It has 5 modules, right? So the first module is all about the mindset that you need to be in to speak with confidence, to become a more confident person overall, not just in speaking, but in other aspects of your life. And then module 2, we teach speaking frameworks. Speaking frameworks are how you can organize your thoughts so that when you say them, they come out in a structured manner. So you're not confusing your audience. And then module 3, we talk about vocal variety. So using your voice, right? Sometimes you need to go high, sometimes you need to go low, sometimes you need to speak fast, sometimes you need to speak slow. There's a lot of things. It's a bit technical, that module, but it's a great module. It also teaches you how to pronounce words correctly and sound better, right? And that's about using your voice to create impact. And then module 4 is about connecting with people. So how do you express agreement? How do you express disagreement? How do you handle small talk? If you do a lot of small talk can be painful for many people. So we teach that, connecting with people. And then module 5 is about being more assertive, right? So those are the core 5 modules. And then after that, we will give you the bonus training where one of them is about presentation skills, present in English with confidence. And that is a great training once you have mastered the 5 modules of CWC. So it's a bit more advanced, but it's a top-notch training, I would say, about influencing and persuading an audience. And we also have another training called Speak to Persuade. That's a replay of a training that we did about how to persuade, words that you can use, phrases that you can use, and then and all the other techniques that are required to persuade and influence people. Okay, thanks for the great question, Najmuddin. Okay, so I think that's all for me. I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for joining me tonight. I had fun. And this is the last session of the month. We're not planning to do any more live sessions in November. We may take a break for a bit And then, if you enjoy these live sessions, we might do them again. But because next week we are closing registration for Communicate with Confidence. So once registration closes, we will be focusing on teaching our students through our coaching calls and through the modules. And so we'll take a break from doing these kinds of live sessions, but we'll be back. So I hope that you'll join us for this masterclass, the last one this Sunday, or join us at myenglishmatters.com/CWC Communicate with Confidence. All right, that's all from me. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum.